Good morning. I just met a neighbor walking her cutest little Yorkie, silky kind of dog. Oh, cutest little dog forever. And I just bent down to say hi to it, and it twisted in circles and wanted to say hi to me. Its little butt was moving back and forth because its tail was wagging so hard. It was awesome. Yeah. So didn't walk yesterday. So I'm looking forward to my walk today. I just started out. What do we have? We have, wait for it. Wait. Van Halen for this morning's shirt. Always try to keep some kind of band reference going. It's not so bad. I don't know where I'm going to go today. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. We'll just have to do a stream of consciousness type thing, you know? For those of you who don't know, I grow tropical fruit trees and plants, tropical and subtropical, in my backyard. I originally decided to do that back in 2016. Let me go back a little further. When we moved into the house, we had this old peach tree in the corner, and it was just this gnarled, ignored tree. And every year it would set a few peaches. And those peaches, I would wait for them to ripen. And I knew nothing about trees back then. I would wait for them to ripen. And right as they were getting just to the point to where I thought, a couple of weeks more, squirrels would get them and they'd be gone every year. And so I thought, I wonder if I planted trees, and I think I read this somewhere. I wonder if I planted fruit trees where the squirrels didn't know what the fruit was. So I did. I went out and I bought a mango tree, which is one of the hardest tropical fruit trees to grow. Who knew? I started off with that. I should have started off with something easier. I bought that, I bought a banana, and I bought passion fruit vines. And lo and behold, all of the rodents ignored them. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic. And about, I guess it was about 4 or 5 years later, the rats discovered the passion fruit. These things are smart. And one rat told his buddies, and then his buddies told his buddies, and so forth and so on. And then all of a sudden, the rats got into my passion fruit and started doing it. Luckily, passion fruit gives so much fruit that it really wasn't a big deal. But it still happened. The mango tree, not once have I ever had an issue with a squirrel or a rat in it at all. I guess my theory was correct, at least for the time being. And one thing led to another, and I expanded out, and I got more and more and more. And yeah, the squirrels are still an issue. They get into my white sapote tree, and they get in and grab some blackberries and stuff like that. But they haven't really been that big of a deal. Not so much that I had to take action against them, but the gophers. Oh yeah. So quite a few years ago, long before I started growing tropical fruit trees, we were sitting in the family room, and we had these large, mature rose bushes. I'll call them trees because they had a single trunk to them. It was about 4 inches around. Those were lining our pool. We were sitting there, and all of a sudden, one of the rose trees started wiggling. I was like, is that wind? No, there was no wind. Is that an earthquake? No. And all of a sudden, it toppled over. It just fell over. And I went out there and looked, and a gopher had completely chewed through the trunk, and it looked like a beaver had gotten to it. I'd never seen anything like it. We lost I think there were 6, lost them all in just the course of a couple days. I knew we had gophers. And, you know, at the time I didn't really care about it that much, but as I went and planted some of my new tropical fruit trees, I put them all in gopher baskets. And then I got lazy. And I had planted some another passion fruit vine and another banana. Boom, gone. In one day, just boom, they were gone. So everything after that, I used gopher baskets. Time went on, a couple years. What happened? I got lazy. That's actually part of my username here, lazy. Yeah, and so I quit using the gopher baskets, just kind of taking a chance. And so far, I'm gonna knock on this wood. So far, I haven't had any problems, but the last couple days I've had some gophers. So I've been on the attack. I have tried everything to get rid of gophers. I've tried poison back in the day before I knew better. I don't do that anymore. That didn't work, by the way. I tried spearmint gum, I tried chili flakes, I tried the traditional gopher traps that you put in the tunnels, and those, you know, they do work, but you really have to be very diligent about setting them out every morning and maintaining them. And I was lazy and I didn't. And I tried smoke. That didn't work at all. So now I have a gopher hawk, which is kind of a cool spring-loaded one. I've got a few this year with the gopher hawk. And now I am trying carbon monoxide. So I showed a little video a while back about how I'm doing it. I actually attached a garden hose, an old garden hose, to my chipper mulcher motor and shoved that hose down inside the burrow and close it all up and run it for 10-15 minutes. So far, yesterday I tried to gas one out near my turkey tangle. It seemed to work because for 3 days in a row I saw new activity out there in the morning. This morning I didn't see any, but then there was another one near my oak leaf papaya this morning. And yesterday, yeah, I tried shooting him with a BB gun. That didn't work very well. I know, that's kind of gross, right? But these guys, I hate them. I mean, they cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of damage, and they don't serve any purpose. I just hate them. And rats. Those are probably the only two animals, well, and mice, that I have no problems eradicating. Sorry if that offends anyone. Please don't unfollow me for that. It's just I'm trying to keep my garden alive, you know? Okay, I had to stop and take a shot of this. Look at all of these flower buds on this cactus. Oh my goodness. It is just loaded. That's gonna have some good fruit later on. If this gives fruit, it should. Look at all those buds. It's gonna pop out and bloom here in no time. So today we have something a little special. I am in Old Town Calabasas, and there are still remnants of the old town. Calabasas has an interesting history. This is the Calabasas Creek Park, and as you can see, they have reconstructions of Native American huts in the background. And this area was a very well-used area, not only by the Native Americans, but also the settlers who came after. There was fresh water here, I don't know if you can see, but on the other side of that little wooden fence, there's a creek that runs through here. And that's a creek that I've shown before. It runs through the entire neighborhood. But this was an area where the Native Americans could forage. There's a lot of oak trees, and the acorns from oak trees provided a lot of food for them. And you know, anywhere where there's fresh water, there'll be people. So the history goes that in the 1700s, this area was inhabited by the Chumash Indians, or I should say Native Americans, you know, to be perfectly correct. And like I mentioned, it was an area that was very popular with them, and they'd been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. Well, in the 1700s, Portola, one of the Spanish missionaries, came through this area on his way up to Monterey. And this area eventually became a large stagecoach stop on the stagecoach line running from Los Angeles up to Monterey. This was one of the stagecoach stops. It was a pretty important area. There was a guy by the name of Miguel Leones, and in the early 1800s, 1820s and 1830s, he came to this area, and this whole area was owned, and I say that loosely because, you know, the Chumash Indians really didn't own land per se, but there was a land grant given to one of the more influential Chumash Indian families here. And the daughter of the leader of that family, her name was Espiritu, I think. Well, Miguel was a smart man. He wanted this land, and so he married Espiritu, and all of a sudden this land became his. So, and he named it El Escorpion Ranch, and it incorporated the entire west side of the San Fernando Valley. And it was an area that was the wild, wild west. Sorry, I got interrupted for a second. Leones was somewhat of a ruthless man, and he ruled with an iron hand. He hired gunslingers to get squatters off of his land, and you know, some of the early accounts of the area was that it was a very bloody area. He was not a good man, but the house that he built, the Leones adobe, in 1844, that became the historical monument #1 for Los Angeles. It is one of the oldest houses in Los Angeles. The missions were built a little earlier, but as far as a residence, it's one of the earliest. So let's take a look around a little bit. So that is the old Calabasas jail. You can see the bars on the windows there. And directly across the street, it's not there anymore, but directly across the street was the old hanging tree. I'll show you where it was. All of these buildings are all from the late 1800s, early 1900s. Right here, this used to be, I believe, a gas station back in the early days. This building's been remodeled, but on the other side of it is where the hanging tree used to be. It's kind of nice. Nobody's out here right now. So this little pergola right here, this is where I believe the old hanging tree used to be. Oh, what does that say? It's an old marker. There's another view of the creek as it winds its way through. Now there's a bunch of shops and restaurants here and stuff like this. It's kind of nice. We come down here. This is a great restaurant, Yume. It's really good. really good sushi and stuff like that. Let's go across to the Lioness Adobe. And I'll actually walk in the grounds and see if we can take some good pictures of it. So this little greenish house right here, this is the Plummer house. This was moved here from West Hollywood. The Plumbers were great friends with the Lioness family. And so they moved the house here. I don't know when. I can't really see the, let's zoom in actually, see if we can see that. And here is the Lioness Adobe. Built in 1844. You can just imagine what this area was like. And of course, a giant oak tree in the front. They've done a pretty good job keeping this area up. Back in the 1960s, they wanted to raise this house so that they could put a supermarket here. And one of the local ladies got a group together and petitioned to save it, and that's why this became historical monument #1. There's old pictures of the Lioness Adobe with this arbor, this trellis, see, going all the way out to the street. They've obviously rebuilt it. Some of the wood wouldn't last that many years, but yeah, that trellis has been here ever since. And they've kept this area really nice. Ooh, sunflowers. Oh, these would make good chop and drop from my backyard. Man, they've got lots of flowers in there that would make good chop and drop. And there's an old windmill. And they keep some livestock here. There's some goats you can see in the pen over there, and some cows and a couple horses in the background. They keep this here for the school kids that come and visit. And right on the other side of that wall over there, that's the 101 freeway. So it backs right up against the 101 freeway. It's kind of cool that they have this here. Let's come over here and read this sign, shall we? Well, if I could quit shaking, we could actually read this. You know, I've lived in this neighborhood for 23 years, I think it is. I've never walked around the Lioness Adobe before, and I've never been inside. That is a shame. I need to make that change. I need to get in there one of these days. You know, that's common about where people live. I mean, I've never been to the Griffith Observatory. Yeah. So, where do we want to walk now? Let's go further up Calabasas Road, and we'll circle around. There's a little lake up there. Maybe we'll walk past the lake, and we'll kind of just check out the area. You know, when I'm walking along, I always smile and head nod people that I come across, especially if it's a woman walking alone or you know, a child or a young adult, because I don't want them to feel threatened. So I always smile and I always nod my head. Good morning, you know. I think that's important. Across the way is the Commons, a big outdoor mall. It was built on an empty hillside a couple decades ago, I think. I don't think this is more than 20 years. Yeah, actually it is more than 20 years old, because it's been here since we moved in, but it was pretty new when we moved in. Nice area to kind of hang out and get some food and walk around a bit. So I posted the other day on social media that, yeah, I got a ticket. Got hit with a red light camera. I went to make a right-hand turn, And right as I got there, the light turned red and I went through it without stopping. And I got a ticky by a red light camera. Well, that cost me $555 plus an extra $11.99 to go to online traffic school, which took me an hour and a half to complete. But hey, I learned something. I learned that in the state of California, it is no longer a citable offense to jaywalk. As long as it's safe to go across the street, you can walk across any street there is and not get a ticket for jaywalking. So I just walk across streets now. The more you know. Well, you know, my walk into Old Town Calabasas, I decided to walk kind of all the way around and make a loop. And now I'm kind of stuck. Yeah, and my little workout app on my watch paused because it was interrupting my videos. So I'm not sure how far I've gone, and hopefully I have not bitten off more than I can chew. And yeah, let's go look at the lake. We're not going to walk around it, but we're going to go look at it. Well, I'm sure it'll be fine. This is Calabasas Lake, and I don't know if it's man-made or not. I think it probably is, but it's a cute little lake that is 100% private. You cannot get in here unless you know somebody. Cute little area. I have been in there one time. I had a work associate, actually a client, great guy, and he, good morning. And he offered to take my son and I fishing, and the lake is stocked with a whole bunch of largemouth bass. And so we went fishing with barbless hooks and caught a whole bunch of fish and threw them back and just had a great day. Thanks, John, appreciate that. Of course, it doesn't look like anything from here, but on the other side of that wall of vegetation is the Motion Picture Academy retirement home, is what I'll call it. There, you can see one of the buildings back in there. It is a huge campus that is a retirement home for those who are in the academy. It's kind of cool because occasionally you'll see somebody out walking, one of our senior citizens, and you look at them and you know they look familiar, and they're probably just some character actor or something that you've seen before from decades ago. But of course, you know, in the motion picture industry, there's many times more people who work behind the scenes than who are actually on camera. So if you're part of the academy, then you can get into that. It's kind of nice to know that this is here. Look at the size of those lemons on that tree. My God, they are ginormous. They're huge. Signs of a mulberry tree. This is a huge, beautiful mulberry tree. Look at that. This is great. I don't know if I'll be able to reach any of the mulberries though. There's one that's right there. Oh, it is tasty. Yes, indeed. Mulberries are such a treat, but they make such a mess. And the trees are so huge, and they are one of the highest, they have one of the highest allergen counts. And in some locales, I know, like in the Phoenix area, in some locales, they're actually prohibited. So, yeah. I won't be getting a mulberry tree. At least I don't think so. We'll see. Here's an example of the contractor actually stamping in their name and the date into the sidewalk right across from Calabasas School. It's kind of cool to know that this neighborhood was built up in 1958. I wonder what it looked like back then. Just with the houses just being built and the sidewalks just being put in. So cool. Okay, it's about 5 minutes after eating that mulberry, and yeah, I have some oral allergy syndrome things going on. My tongue itches, my ears itch, and yeah, definitely a little allergic reaction going on. I'm not worried about it though. I used to get this really, really bad. So I'm not going to be going to the hospital or anything. It's just annoying. I'll still eat mulberries every now and then, but I wouldn't be able to eat a lot of them. And I'm not going to plant a tree. That tree right there, that orange tree. I've watched that poor thing decline over the past handful of months, and I think it's a goner. And I would be curious to know if that citrus tree has the same disease. I forget what it's called, the citrus greening disease that's rampant in Southern California. I should know this because, you know, being the tropical fruit guy that I am, I should absolutely know this. But I don't, so maybe I should look it up when I get home. But that poor citrus tree is a goner. And I don't think my fingerling lime tree is coming back to life. I think it's a goner as well. It's tough. This is a great example of why you don't leave supports on your trees for too long. This one just grew right around it. See so many people in the neighborhood, they'll get a new tree. A lot of them will get these ficus trees so that they can create some type of privacy hedge. And they put them in and they never take the support stakes out. Oh, hi, little bunny. Oh, it's nice to see the little bunnies. There he is. Hi, little buddy. How you doing? There he goes. I'm not gonna hurt you. Hey, little bunny. It's nice to see the bunnies back. There was a period of time, like a year or so ago, that you didn't see any anywhere. And I don't know if it was just a plethora of coyotes that were running the neighborhood, or if it was an unusually rough winter for them. But for some reason, they just weren't around. It's nice to see them back. Well, thanks for coming along with me today. Keeps me busy being able to record these little videos and give you my thoughts and kind of look around the neighborhood and learn some new things. It's nice because the best way to learn something is to kind of teach about it a little bit. So I've learned a lot too. Well, I'm headed up my last hill towards my house. Everybody have a great day.